Hi children, I am so happy to welcome you all once again to our history class. In the last video, under the title Socialism in Europe and the Russian Revolution, I taught you about the October Revolution, that is also known as Bolshevik Revolution. In that video, I told you and explained to you about the role of Lenin in that revolution. And today, as part of that, I would like to tell you about the civil war that took place after the revolution. Okay, my dear children? Right. Now, civil war. The title of our lesson is Socialism in Europe and the Russian Revolution. Now, let me tell you how a civil war broke out in Russia. So, after the Russian Revolution, that is after 1917, after the Russian Revolution, entire Russia was divided into three groups. That is the Bolsheviks. One group is Bolsheviks, one group. Second group, Socialist Revolutionaries. Third group, the supporters of Tsars. So these are the important groups that sprang up after the Russian Revolution. So after the Russian Revolution, the entire Russia was divided into these three groups. The first one, Bolsheviks. And the Bolsheviks were represented by a specific color, that is red color. Bolsheviks, okay, are revolutionaries. These Bolsheviks, the followers of Lenin, Bolsheviks represented by a special color, that is red color. And the second one, Socialist Revolutionaries. First one, Bolsheviks. Bolsheviks were the followers of Lenin. Second group, Socialist Revolutionaries. Socialist Revolutionists were the second group, and these Socialist Revolutionaries represented by another color, that is green color. Listen, my dear children, the second Socialist Revolutionaries represented by color green. That's the second group. And the third group was Tsars, or the supporters of Tsars, or Tsar, supporters of Tsar or Tsarism. And these are represented by color white, my dear children. These are represented by white. So entire society in Russia was divided into these three groups. They were Bolsheviks, Socialist Revolutionaries, third one, Tsars, are the supporters of Tsar. So likewise, the society was divided into these three groups, my dear. That means some people stood on the side of Bolsheviks, and some people in Russia supported Socialist Revolutionaries, and some people in Russia supported Tsar. So likewise, the society was divided into these three, okay, groups, my dear. And as a result, these three groups began to fight against each other, and that is called civil war, my dear. Okay, a civil war among these groups started in Russia. So they began to fight among themselves, and that is called a civil war. It is nothing but a civil war. Okay, a civil war started. A civil war among these groups started in Russia, and this is called civil war. And in the portrait, in the picture, you can see, okay, here the civil war. Okay, right. So that means all these people, the Bolsheviks, Socialist Revolutionaries, and Tsars, they wore different colors. Okay, so they began to fight among themselves, and this is called civil war. So the civil war started among these groups, and here you can see in the photo. Okay, take a look at this photo, right? Now the greens and whites were supported by France, USA, Britain, and Japan, my dear. The greens and whites, who were supported by, okay, France, USA, and Britain, and Japan. Okay, these developed nations, capitalist nations, supported socialist revolutionaries here. Okay, my dears, and whites. are Tsarists. So socialist revolutionaries and the supporters of Tsar, who were also here, backed by, supported by the socialist nations like France, USA, Britain, and Japan. And these countries supported Greens and Whites. Okay, but Bolsheviks, they are the supporters of, okay, they are the followers of Lenin. Okay, they stood, okay, separately, and all of them fought a civil war with the Bolsheviks. All these Greens and Whites ultimately fought with the Bolsheviks. Okay, supporters of Lenin. All of them, all these Greens and Whites fought with the Bolsheviks. When the Bolsheviks ordered land distribution, the Russian army began to break up because the soldiers were mostly peasants. When Lenin came to power after the October Revolution in Russia, and he ordered, okay, land distribution. He ordered land distribution because the land was only, it was in the hands of the big landlords once. Okay, before October Revolution, the land was in the hands of the big landlords and nobles. Nobles enjoyed the lands in Russia. But now when Lenin came to power and he ordered the distribution of the land, he ordered land distribution. When he ordered the land distribution, okay, the Russian army began to break up. Why the Russian army began to break up? Because in Russian army we can see the soldiers also were having lands. Mostly, most of the soldiers, Russian soldiers, were peasants. So these peasants had lands. That is why whenever Lenin ordered for land distribution, the Russian army, okay, was divided. The Russian army began to break up because soldiers were mostly peasants, my dears. That's why, okay, they were troubled. They were deeply disturbed when Lenin ordered for land distribution because the soldiers had lands. Most of the peasants had lands. All those soldiers were mostly peasants, and these peasants had lands. That's why the Russian army began to break up when Lenin ordered for land distribution. And later, my dear, Bolsheviks took the help of non-Russian people and Muslim Jadidis. Jadidis were the reformers. Okay, Muslim reformers were called Jadidis. So Bolsheviks took the help of non-Russian people because all the Greens and Whites were supported by France, USA, Britain, and Japan. But Bolsheviks did not have adequate support. That's why the Bolsheviks now took the help of non-Russian people and Muslim Jadidis reformers to take control of Russian Empire. Okay, so the Bolsheviks took the help of non-Russian people, particularly the Muslim Jadidis reformers also gave support to Bolsheviks. So the Bolshevik ultimately took the help of non-Russian people and Muslim Jadidis to take control of Russian Empire. And later, my dear children, now let me tell you about the making of socialist economy, socialist society. Making socialist society. The Bolsheviks kept industries and banks nationalized during the Civil War. Yes, when Lenin came to power, all the important industries and all the banks were nationalized. Okay, all were now functioning under the control of the government. But previously, all these banks and industries were under the control of the private persons, private individuals. But now, when Lenin came to power, when Bolshevik government was established in Russia, then ultimately here, all the industries and banks were nationalized completely. Okay, my dear children, and later, the process of centralized planning was introduced. Not only that, not only the nationalization of banks and industries, besides that, okay, the Bolshevik government introduced centralized planning. They made the 5-year plans also, yes, and rapid construction and industrialization started. After the Civil War, all these changes, okay, have been found. What are they? Centralized planning came into force, and banks and industries were nationalized, and rapid construction and industrialization started in Russia. Okay, rapid industrialization and rapid construction and industrialization started in Russia. Industrial production increased between 1919 and 1933 by 100%. Yes, industries increased enormously. Okay, particularly between 1919 and 33, the increase reached 100%, my dear children. An extended schooling system developed, and arrangements were made for factory workers and peasants to enter a university schooling system. Okay, yes, and then previously there was a poor schooling system in Russia, but now, okay, education reached to all sections of people. So an extended school system was developed there, and arrangements were also made for factory workers and peasants to enter universities. Yes, even the workers who are working in the factories got opportunity to go to universities to study. So such facility was also extended to the factory workers to enter the universities. And not only that, cheap public care, okay, and public care, cheap public care, a health facility, okay, was provided. Model living quarters were also set up for all the workers. Cheap public care was provided. Model living quarters were also established, particularly for the well-being of the workers. So on the whole, workers were given all facilities. Okay, yes, they were provided with all amenities. So okay, they were provided educational facilities, and then they were also given good healthcare facilities were also provided to them. So cheap public care was provided. Model living quarters were also set up for all the workers. Okay, my dear children, right? Okay, in the next video I shall tell you about Stalin, Joseph Stalin, and collectivization. Okay, my dear children.